Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
So you're able to see the screen? Hello.
Yes, sir. We can see.
So today we'll start with a session on how to use the open hardware platform like an Arduino to build projects. Arduino is extensively used in the market by almost all the universities over the world to experiment the different ideas and see whether the project works or not. So what is Arduino basically? Arduino is an open source electronics prototyping platform based on easy to use hardware and software. The first Arduino board was introduced in 2005 to help the design students, that is architecture students, who had no previous experience in electronics or microcontroller programming. Arduino boards are able to read the inputs. That means that light on a sensor, a finger on a button, or a Twitter message and turn it to an output. You can use Arduino for activating a motor, turning on an LED, publishing something online. So who are the customers for the Arduino? They say that artists can use, designers can use, hobbyists can use, and anyone who is interested in creating interactive objects or environments can use Arduino. So there is no limitation. That is why when we want to start microcontroller programming, generally it's preferred to start using an Arduino and start build some projects, then understand the way electronics will work, the way interfacing works, then we build our own boards. So Arduino is open source hardware in the sense the circuit diagram of the complete Arduino board is available for access. So you can build your own Arduino board. So referring to that by adding certain extra things, what is required for you. It's an open source software. The Arduino Studio, what you're using to build the projects is free. It is not chargeable. Anybody can download the software. So can use to build the projects on the Arduino board. Lot of third-party companies, that is other than Arduino company. So they use what is called, they provide what is called shields. So these shields are supported by the third-party companies, so which you can integrate into the project. The great success of Arduino board is the third-party hardware support. Even though Arduino company provide the boards, lot of companies today exist. They manufacture the shields which are compatible with the hardware of Arduino, so that you can just purchase them and complete the project the earliest. And as you know that it's for 300 rupees, you can get an Arduino boards available now. Varieties boards are available, depends upon your requirement. You can choose the board of your choice. The one of the greatest asset, or you say greatest benefit of using Arduino board is any hardware, open hardware platform you take it. The challenge is you have to put your code which runs on the board. Whatever you compile in your computer, that works on your computer. For example, you used C language, you use C++ to write the programs in your laptop. Where does these programs will work? The programs are going to execute only in your system. But now here it's not like that. You're writing a program using your laptop, but the program is not going to run on your laptop, but the program is going to run on other hardware platforms. So that means the target board. So your laptop is not the target board. Arduino board is a target board. So in such cases, what you have to do, once you write a program, you compile them, put in a binary format, and then transfer the program into the flash memory of the target board. That is, let's say, Arduino board. So usually when you want to do that one, you require a programmer. That itself you have to pay lots of money, 2,000, 3,000 rupees. Then you should have a programmer, compatibility, all those issues will comes into picture. With Arduino, beauty is that the interfacing circuit, what is required to connect to the computer, is already built into the Arduino boards. So you just take an USB cable, plug in your Arduino board to your laptop, and all the required protocol has been implemented both in the board side and also Arduino IDE also. You can just fuse the program like that without having an external programmer. The necessary hardware, software is already integrated into the board and to the IDE. So it's easy to program. So just for 300 rupees, you have a system, built-in system available for you to start experimenting. So what is the language we use in Arduino IDE? It supports simplified version of C++. So most of the times we use Arduino as a C programming language because most of the statement what we write is looks like a C programs. Now, so let us start with this. There are many Arduino boards available in the market. Our focus in this course is only one board called Arduino Uno. Of course, for your project, you can always refer other boards, so which has got a Wi-Fi inbuilt into that, or you have a more number of hardware features into the other advanced Arduino boards. So the simplest, the most popular, which is sufficient for most of the projects, is Arduino Uno board. So when we start building the projects in Arduino Uno, what are the things we have to understand? So if you look at the diagram here, so this is the reset. So what is the purpose of the reset? For example, you download a program into this. You download a program into this.
Sir, we are not able to see the slides. It's still stuck in first slide, sir.
Is it? Okay,
Yes,
one
sir.
minute.
Sir, also a couple of students are not able to join the link, it seems.
Yeah.
We think it's because of the permissions.
Okay, I've admitted everyone now. I think I should log out and log in again. Since I tried in the mobile to start with, then that was the issue, I think. Now you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir.
The PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's moving. So am I there in the Arduino Uno?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please let me know if any issues is there. I think network issue is there. I'll manage. Okay. So Arduino Uno as the this platform is extensively used to build the projects. So what are the connections we'll have Arduino? So it has got a USB cable like this, USB connector. Using this, I'll be connecting to the laptop, and using this, I'll be programming to this board. You can see the small chip available here. This is the chip which is converts USB to serial port, serial protocol, and then communicate to the your Arduino microcontroller. If this chip is not available, you should purchase an external programmer, that is external USB to serial converter, and then you have to use this one. Most of the embedded, that is microcontroller boards like that, you have to require an external interface. But the beauty of this is they have provided the USB to serial inside the board itself. Only the proper driver for this, it's a Scilab, they use a Scilab's converter. You have to install a proper driver into the your system before start programming. Why driver is required? Because this chip establishes communication between the USB protocol of your computer with the serial port of your Arduino microcontroller. So you require to install a driver. If somebody says why driver is required, because to support this chip working, to support the protocol working. So when you install Arduino IDE, also install the driver required for the Arduino Uno. Next, after you download the program into this chip, you start working on this one. Sometimes, let's say program got hanged. You want to restart the program. You don't require to download the program again. You can just press the reset button. Whenever you reset the reset button is pressed, it starts the program execution from the first line of the code. So each time you have an issues in the program, just press reset button. Don't download the program every time. Downloading is required only one time. After that, you can use a reset button. Now, you develop a program, a project, you build a project using Arduino Uno. So you use the cable for giving the power to the board and also to download the program into this one. After the project is built, you want to deliver this product to a customer. So when you want to deliver this product to a customer, what will happen? You cannot have the laptop. You cannot give the laptop along with the Arduino board. Yes or no? You have to give only the Arduino board to the customer. So then what we have to do is we should have a facility to give a separate power supply to this board. This is where the power supply is used. So this is an external 9 volts to 10, 12 volts adapters, like whatever the adapters you use for your mobile phone. Such an Arduino Uno adapters available in every electrical shop. They have the adapters, 9 to 12 volts adapter. So this adapter, you purchase the adapter from the 220 volts to the 9 to 12 volts you give to this power supply. So the customer will purchase an adapter and give the power to this board. Only during the development time, you don't require this adapter because the USB, the port is capable of supplying both the power and also you can use for programming.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I have
Please.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Suppose so this adapter is only compatible for 9 to 11 volts of
9 to 12
power
volts. Yeah.
supply. No?
Yeah.
If my requirement is more than 12 volts, like the maximum power that particular driver can apply is like more than 12 volts, then what am I supposed to do?
Now, where is the question of the Arduino board has been designed for 12 volts? In the sense, the boards have been designed for that. Only the current required may be different, depends upon whatever the components you're going to use in the board. Yes or no? When you purchase the adapter, the voltage is standard. Only the current required. It's easy to 1 amp, but 2 amp, but 3 amp. That you have to take a decision. So Arduino boards comes with the 12 volts only. There's a 9 to 12 volts only. So there is no question of they work for 24 volts. No. If at all, if any microcontroller board works at 24 volts, they would have explicitly specified. At that time, you have to purchase a 24 volts adapter. So your only selection is what? Adapter is standard. 9 to 12 volts is standard. Only question is how much of current the adapter should be able to supply to the board. Because sometimes you use a lot of motors. Yes or no? In such cases, you require a lot of power you are driving from the board. At such cases, you purchase an adapter with a higher current capability. Let's say 2 amp, 3 amp, or 4 amp like that. Or sometimes what we do, so board we will give one adapter. The other components what you have in the board, this one, no, we have a separate adapter. So on the breadboard. So you can have two commons of the two adapters should be made common. In the sense, the plus and minus for that, no, the minus of the first adapter, the minus of the second adapter should be made common. So otherwise, so generally one adapter is sufficient to drive the power to the board and also for the components.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear? Okay. So now, after I deliver to the customer, I use this adapter to give the power to the board. Now, what else will be there in this board? So if you look at this board, one of the important crucial point or the member of this board is this big chip called a microcontroller. It's called as a microcontroller. So we will study about this microcontroller. The next slide, Atmel 328 is a microcontroller used. Lot of companies manufacture the microcontroller. Arduino Uno boards uses Atmel microcontroller. So this Atmel microcontroller is a 32-bit microcontroller. So which any of the microcontrollers, whatever we have. So you can able to see the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this microcontrollers, whatever we take, we'll study little detail about the Arduino Uno microcontroller. Now, any microcontroller you take, what are the capabilities you should have? You should have the capability to execute the code put into this memory. Do you see any memory chip around that? No. You see, sir, this is the controller, this is the one which converts a USB to serial port. This is the crystal, so which decides what is the frequency at which this microcontroller should work. And this is a power supply. That is a power supply, 12 volts to 5 volts conversion. See, and this is a reset button. See that there is no IC is present on the board, which is called as a memory chip. Then you may ask a question, sir, where should my program will put into this one? Your program is put into the microcontroller. That means that microcontroller is a single chip which has got a built-in memory to store your programs. So it has got a built-in memory to store your variables. That is a temporary variables. It is a memory which has got some storage capabilities called electrically variable memory, where certain parameters, password and everything can be stored there. So that means that the microcontroller has a capability to work as a CPU, one which executes the instruction. It also has a capability to store the program and the temporary variables and temporary information. We will go to that in detail in the next slide. So now look at this. Arduino board architecture. So let's focus on the first slide. That is a first line. So what is a microcontroller used in Arduino? Atmega 328 is a microcontroller used. Now, there are three types of memory present in any of the microcontrollers. Most of the microcontrollers. Only one may not be there in some microcontrollers, but most of the current generation microcontrollers, they have three types of memory. What are the three types of memory? One is called flash memory. So flash memory, it's also called as read-only memory. This memory has the capability to store your program into the chip. So how much of memory it has got? 32 kilobytes in the sense. So 32 into 1024. So many bytes will be present where you can store your instructions in the binary format. Since it's a flash memory, earlier days it was only read-only memory. That means that one time you put a code, the board is finished. Then you have to purchase other board because it's only one time you can write into that. Nowadays it's not like that. Instead of read-only memory is implemented as a flash memory. When you implement read-only memory as a flash memory, the advantage is that you can erase and rewrite. How many times? 1 lakh times. They say 1 lakh cycles you can perform. So almost you can say that it's a very long duration. For years together, for a decade, you can use the same board. So the flash memory is the memory where your programs are stored. How much of it? 32 kilobytes. That is why you should be very careful when you write a program in the C language. The way you write a program, you should be optimized. Because why? Your whole code should fit into 32 KB. If it is more than 32 KB, you cannot do this project on this board. Finish. That means that you have to change the board. That is why it should be very careful when you implement your project on the boards. So you should have an optimized structure for your program. So you should not repeat so many things. So no, wherever possible, use the functions for repeated execution. So your program should be optimized. One. Next, the second type of memory is called as RAM, SRAM, static RAM. What is the meaning of SRAM? SRAM is a memory where your contents will be there as long as the power is there in the board. When you remove the power from the board, the contents will be lost. So in the sense, this stores the information only when the power is there. After that, the contents will be lost. So that means that at the runtime, that is when your project is running, you can store anything into that. That is each of the memory location, you can write, read, anything you can do it. Only at the time of runtime, that is when you are running. So once you switch off, everything contents will be lost. For what purpose we use SRAM? For variables. For example, if you declare a variable integer I, so in your C language, in the Arduino, so where does integer I will be stored? I will be allocated a space in the SRAM. So the whole program, what you write, yes or no, the program will be stored in the flash memory, but all the variables, whatever you declare, variables, arrays, everything you declare, it will be stored in the SRAM. Look at the size, what they provide, 2 kilobytes, 2 into 1024 bytes is very, very, very less. That is why if you declare even a one array, say, for example, if you declare an array of long integer 1000, finish, the whole content has been lost. That is why when you declare an array, when you declare a variable, you should make sure that wherever possible, use unsigned character. So unsigned character means it will take only 1 byte. So if you declare integers or long integer like that, so 2 bytes, 4 bytes should have finished for a single variable. So as the project develops, so you will be shortage of the memory, because if you declare the structures and other things, always make sure that 2 KB is the only memory available for storing temporary data. So this is the second type of memory. The third type of memory, so it's a very, very useful memory. Not all the microcontroller provides, but Arduino provides. It's called E2PROM, electrically erasable, so programmable read-only memory. So what is the meaning of, why do we require E2PROM? For example, let's say you have built a Arduino-based project where you are given a provision for the user to set up username and the password for that. So that means that username and the password has to be stored in a memory where each time, that is maybe the project for the 2 days, he has got one username and the password. After 2 days, he may change that one. So can I store that at the runtime? I'm changing the username and the password. If I store them in the RAM, what will happen? Each time you remove the power adapter, switch off the unit, the contents will be lost. Can I store here? Flash memory? No. Flash memory can be fused. That is only at the time of development of your project, you can store something into the flash memory, only by the programmer, not by the user of the product. So where is the only memory available? So 1 KB E2PROM is the only memory available where you can give a provision for the user to take the data from the username, password, other things, put in the electrically erasable. So electrically erasable means at the runtime, you can change the contents, but when you switch off the power, still the contents will be there in that. It's like a battery backup. It's like a battery backed up RAM. So what is E square PROM? It's equivalent to RAM, but the battery backup is there inside. So E square PROMs are manufactured with that capability. So the moment you say E square PROM, you should always remember that the contents can be modifiable at the runtime, and the contents will not be lost when the power is switched off. Power is removed from the board. So that is a concept about E square PROM. Summarizing now, how many types of memory you have? How many types of memory we have? 3 types of memory microcontroller provide. Number 1 is a flash memory. Second is a SRAM. The third is E square PROM. You always remember this is the fundamental requirement to understanding the working of a microcontrollers. So I'll repeat: flash memory for the program storage, SRAM for the variables, E square PROM for the temporary data which should be available even if you switch off your the board also. So these are the 3 types of memory available. Since E square PROM is only you're storing certain very important information, they have provided only 1 KB. They provided. Now, the operating voltage is 5 volts. That means that if somebody asks microcontroller, Arduino microcontroller, what is the voltage required for the Arduino microcontroller? So it's a 5 volts. So it's a 16 megahertz is the speed at which this is going to work. So you can see that there's a crystal is provided. In the crystal supports a 16 kilohertz, supports a 16 megahertz, the frequency. Now we have understood. The microcontroller features. So it's a 32-bit microcontrollers, works at 16 megahertz, 32 kilobyte of flash, 2 KB of SRAM, 1 KB of E square PROM. So I know it's from the Atmel company. Now I will now start using this microcontroller for building the projects. Whenever you want to start using the Atmel microcontroller for building the projects, one of the important things is you require the way to connect to the external world. External world is what? This board has to be connected to a lot of sensors outside. This has to be connected to a lot of LEDs, motors outside. In the sense, having the board is of no use unless the board is connected to the external sensors, external motors, external LEDs, external things. The project cannot be built. So a lot of external world components or peripherals exist. You should have a facility to connect to them. What is a way to connect? You can see that there are 2 ways, or you can say, so Arduino board can talk to the external world in 2 ways. So one is, so these pins we call as a digital input output pins. Other is called as a analog input output pins. Analog inputs. So analog output means some of the pins here we use as analog output. That I'll explain later. PWM. So in the sense, microcontroller or Arduino board talk to the external world using what is called as digital and analog input output pins. So digital and analog input output pins are the way the Arduino microcontroller can talk to the external world. These are like a windows. So through these windows, you can talk to the external world. If you look at the external world, the whole of the computing world, that means that whatever the projects you build around the Arduino board, almost all the peripherals and the devices can be classified into 2 types. They're called as what is called as analog type of devices and the digital types of devices. So what is the meaning of analog type of devices and digital types of devices? Analog type of devices are the devices where you require the voltage from the device. It is analog in nature. For example, so if I take one sensor, let's say I have taken a light sensor. So if I take a light sensor, what is the type of output produced by a light sensor? Light sensor will give me the output voltage or current which is equivalent to the light. Is it a light is always a 2 values of 0 and 1? No, light is an infinitely different values exist in a different range. For example, if it produces a voltage, so if I configure the device as 0 to 5 volts, in the sense from the 0 to 5 volts, different voltages corresponds to different light intensities. In the sense, so in the given range of 0 to 5 volts, the voltages can take infinitely different combinations. It can be 0.0 voltage, 1.0, 1.1, 2.2, 3.4, like the different combinations are there. Why different combinations required? Because the device what you have taken can able to produce different combinations of values. For example, light. You cannot say light is only 2 values. So such devices whose output can have infinitely different combinations of values can put into the category called analog. So what are the analog? Analog are nothing but the devices which will generate infinitely different combinations of voltages or currents. So if you want to connect such devices to an Arduino board, I have to connect them through what are the interface provided to interface to the analog inputs. So another example for analog input, for example, temperature sensor, if you take it. For example, temperature sensors, if you purchase in the market, they say it supports from minus 100 degrees centigrade to plus, let's say 60 degrees centigrade. In the sense, the temperature sensor can identify the temperature in this range and produces the equivalent voltage or current, so corresponding to the temperature in the range. So when you want to read such a range of voltages, a range of currents into the Arduino board, I have required what? Analog inputs is required. So how many such sensors I can connect to the Arduino board? They are provided A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. That means that 6 analog pins or analog devices can be integrated into Arduino Uno board. If at all, if you want to connect, let's say the 7 or 8, it is not possible with the Arduino Uno board. Then you require some other shield which produces, which gives a lot of analog inputs. Then you have to combine them into one output and then put them into Arduino Uno board using some serial protocol that you have to do it. That means that whenever what is directly indicated, if you want to extend that, it is not directly possible. Then you have to do what? You have to build some external hardware, so which generates a lot of analog inputs. Then I have to read them using some protocols, and then I have to bring into the Atmel microcontroller. So this is not the scope of the syllabus this time. So I am not talking about I2C bus and other things. So my focus is, what is the limitation? Maximum 6 analog devices I can interface to them. Now, so what is the range of these voltages they provide? They provide analog interface that is 0 to 5 volts. In the sense, any analog peripheral or analog sensor you purchase in the market, make sure that the voltage produced by that analog sensor should not exceed the 5 volts. Because why? The board will work at what is the range of voltage of the board? It's just 0 to 5 volts. So if you try to exceed from the sensor a voltage which is more than 5 volts, what will happen? Boards get damaged. So always take care that use a multimeter. See that analog sensor, whatever you're using with the circuit, whatever you're going to build in the breadboard, should not generate a voltage which is more than what has been tolerated at the pins. So how much it's a voltage it tolerates? 0 to 5 volts. So this is the range. If it produces negative voltage, you should stop that. You should build some circuit so that it should always generate only the positive voltage 0 to 5 volts only. That is you have to take care. So any sensor you can take it, first study the sensor circuit. What is the voltage range it produces? Analyze. It should be fall into the range what is supported by the Arduino analog pins. So 6 analog pins are there. Now, any analog input you take it, always remember that. So they provide certain ranges. For example, 0 to 5 volts. So 0 to 5 volts of analog, you have to convert into what? Digital. You have to convert into digital. So only because why you have to convert into digital? Unless you convert analog into digital, the microcontroller cannot work. Because microcontroller is what? Microcontroller is a digital device. That means inside it can only handle digital numbers. You cannot handle directly analog. So even though it supports analog, inside the microcontroller, there's a facility called ADC, analog to digital converter, which converts into digital and then reads it. We will see in the program what is the digital range it produces and other things here. So remember that even though it's analog in nature, they will be converted to digital before start using in the implementation of Atmel hardware. So they provide ADC, which is built into the Atmel. Most of the microcontrollers available in the market, they do not provide analog inputs facility. In such cases, what should have? We should have an external ADC and then connect the digital output of that ADC to the microcontrollers. So the beauty of the Atmel microcontroller is that it provides analog input direct interface, so that it has got inbuilt ADC, which provides a digital output. I can use it for computation. Now, let's go to the now digital input output pins. Is it audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the digital, how many digital devices I can connect? What do you mean by a digital device? Any device which generates an output whose values only 2 combinations, either 0 or 1, either low or high. Such devices are called as digital devices. For example, if I take an LED, so LED is what type of device? It is digital output device, because if I say 1, LED glows. If I say 0, LED will be off. So there are so many such sensors are there which always gives the 2 values only, either 0 or 1. Or there are so many digital devices there which takes the input on 0 and 1s only. So such devices you can connect to the digital input output pins. So these pins are used for two purposes. Either you can generate the digital output, that is zeros and ones, or you can read the digital input. So what is the range? Again, since the board is designed for 0 to 5 volts, microcontrollers also works at 0 to 5 volts. 1 means 5 volts, 0 means 0 voltage. In the sense, so you can only read two types of inputs. One is a 1 or 0. 1 means high voltage, 0 means 0 voltage. Similarly, you can generate 1, that is a 5 volts, or you can generate 0, that is a 0 voltage. So I can use for input or output, these pins are there. How many such pins are there? So you can say that 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 13. There are 14 digital input output pins are available to establish a connection between the digital input output devices. So if somebody asks, what are the types of port pins are available in case of an Arduino Uno? This is a general question asked. So Arduino support two types of port pins. One is analog inputs, other is called the digital input output pins. So analog is a 6, digital is what? 14. So 14 digital input output devices you can connect to them. So in this one, there are certain indications that you can see that there is a tilt symbol is available at 11, 10, 9, and the 6, 5, and the 3. So there are 6 tilt symbols is there next to the pin. So wherever the pins are having a tilt symbol, that means that they are used as a PWM. You can see that they have indicated 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. So 6 pins are there. PWM is nothing but what? PWM is a concept. It's a pulse width modulation. It's a technique used to generate or simulate analog output voltage using digital output pins. See, there is no analog outputs are there here. Yes or no? You have only analog inputs are there. For example, I want to generate analog outputs. Where is an example? For example, you have a speaker. You want to produce a sound. You want to produce a music out of the Arduino board. So what is the music? Music is what? It's not a digital. Music is a variation of sound. So in such cases, I require what? Analog output is required. So for example, you have a motor. Motor, you have to generate a variation of speeds. That means that analog output is required. Digital is not possible. So there are many applications where I require analog outputs, but analog output separate pins are not available. So I can simulate analog output using the digital output pins using the concept called PWM. So whenever you want to require analog outputs, I use a PWM technique and generate the analog output. So how many analog outputs are there? There are 6 analog outputs are there. So effectively, even though it's a digital, I can use them as analog outputs. So totally 6 analog outputs are there. 6 analog inputs are there. The remaining 14 minus 6. So 7 digital output. That you can see that there are 2 pins at the 0 and 1. They are called TX and RX. So that means that TX, RX is the 2 pins, the transmit and the receiver. So you would be studying in the network subject also. So these 2 pins, I can use them to establish a communication to certain types of devices which communicate or which works on the principle of serial communication. For example, modem. You take a Wi-Fi module. So for example, I want to send the data from this board to the internet. So if I want to communicate from this board to another board through internet, so what is the way to send the data between this board to another board, Wi-Fi module or some other modem? What is the way to communicate? One is a serial based communication. Serial protocol means what? You push the data from this board to other board using a one line. So that is TX is what? Transmit data, convert the parallel data into serial, push the data. So this pin is used. Similarly, when you want to receive the data from the Wi-Fi module or the modem, external modem, again, I receive the data in the serial fashion through RX. So TX, RX is the method to establish a serial protocol, a serial communication between the devices. So a lot of modules are there. For example, GSM modules are there, GPS modules are there, Wi-Fi modules are there, Wi-Fi shield. These are the different shields are there, which requires TX-RX support. So when you use these 2 pins as TX-RX, you cannot use as a digital input-output pins. Now, so in this board, there is a one, yeah.
So could you explain TX-RX once again, please?
Yeah. So whenever you want to communicate from the microcontroller board to an external world, the external world, let's say it is another data processing device. For example, you take a GSM module or GPS module, or you take a Wi-Fi module. In the sense, so I'm not connecting to the LED or LCD like that. I am connecting the Arduino board to another device, which is also data processing device. In such cases, I want to send the data from this board to other board. Let's say I want to push this data to another computer, another laptop. The one laptop you already used here for programming. I want to send this data to another computer, or I want to send this to another Wi-Fi module. In such cases, how do you push this data to another device? One method is your data is what stored in a bytes. 1 byte means 8 bits. So to communicate the data from this board to another data processing device like a computer, you require 8 pins will be required to send 1 byte of data. So that requires a lot number of pins are there. So people do not use parallelly sending the 1 byte of data. They use what is called serial method of data transfer. So what is the meaning of serial data transfer? That means that you're taking 1 byte of data, break that data 1 byte into the bits, and then send 1 bit at a time, so to the external device, that is a data processing device. In such cases, Arduino Atmel has got an inbuilt facility to convert the parallel to serial and then push the data in a bitwise 1 bit at a time. So whenever you want to use a serial mode of communication to communicate from the Arduino board to another data processing device, we use those 2 pins. So TX for sending the serial data, RX for receiving the data. So you can say that. So TX, RX stands for transmit data and receive data. These are the 2 pins are used to establish a serial communication between the Arduino board and other external data processing devices like a GSM module, GPS module, a Wi-Fi module, your other laptops like that. Because when you use serial communication, number of pins required will be less. So that is the meaning of TX and RX pins. Now, so we have understood now all the pins what is present here, all the pins what is present in the analog also. When you build projects, what will happen is you want to test whether a particular pin is working or not. They have provided one LED. You can see that there's a small LED is provided to the pin number 13. So pin number 13, you need not connect an external LED. They have internally connected one LED. So whenever you want to take an Arduino Uno board, you want to test Arduino Uno board is working, directly send data to the pin number 13. So which is internally connected to one LED to test it's working or not. So always remember that when you want to test Arduino Uno board, what you have to do, make the LED on and off, which is present on the board itself and which is connected internally to the pin number 13. So that's how testing should happen. That we will see that now. So whenever you want to build some circuits, so you use a breadboard, you make certain circuits outside. When you build a circuit, for example, you want to connect a temperature sensor. When you want to connect a temperature sensor to the Arduino board, temperature sensor, some sensors are passive devices, some sensors are active devices. Passive means they don't require a power supply. For example, certain devices, for example, LDR, they don't require a power supply. Certain sensors require a power supply to work it. So when you want to connect a temperature sensor, which is an active device, which requires a power to make it work, where do you get the power? So Arduino provided certain pins which generates the power. So these pins can be used to drive the power to the external circuits. So what are the power it provides? It provides 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and the ground is available. So these are the pins available for you to drive the power supply. So now we have covered almost all the pins what is provided on the Arduino board. We have studied about the microcontroller. We know what is the memory capacity. We know number of digital inputs. We know number of PWM points. We know number of analog outputs. So we have studied about one LED which is present on the board. So now let's move to the summary of this one. So this is whatever I explained. It is there in this sheet. So as I was talking about the serial interfaces, we will talk about this little later, probably after you do the basic programs. As I said, so it supports I2C protocol, it supports SPA protocol, it supports UART protocol. So whenever you connect Arduino board to other intelligent data processing devices, it supports a lot of serial protocols. One is a UART, other is a SPI, other is a I2C protocol. We'll study this little detail later. Also in the module 4 for the ARM board, we study them in detail. What is an I2C protocol? What is an SPA protocol? What is a UART protocol? What is serial? How do you write a program? In detail, we study for the ARM microcontroller. At that time, you will understand what are these protocols in a better way. These are the same board. Another picture is given. Okay. Okay, these are the different Arduino shields, what is available in the market. For example, you want to interface the keys. keys and the so like a joystick or something like that interfaces. So you can purchase the shield, connect to the Arduino board. The beauty of the shield is these shields can be directly placed on the Arduino board, that they are pin compatible, in the sense they manufactured in such a way that you can place the whole of the shield on the board directly. That means that the size and the pins are compatible with the Arduino Uno board. That is why they are called as shields. A shield is nothing but what? A circuit, hardware circuit, which is compatible with the pins of the Arduino Uno board, and which is whose size is also compatible with the Arduino Uno board. So a lot of such shields are available. It's easy to implement the projects of your choice. So if you want SD card, micro SD card is facility is not provided in the Arduino board. You want SD card? Yes, you can purchase a SD card shield so that you can store the data in the SD card at the runtime. So MP3 trigger. So LCD, so board is available. If you want to provide an LCD, you can purchase an LCD shield and you can connect to that. So now we want to build the circuit. When we want to build a circuit, so what do we require? So we require first of all a breadboard. So without the breadboard, you cannot make an experiments. You cannot build most of the experiments. How does a breadboard looks? So breadboard looks like this. So the pins, what is available in the breadboards, they are in the row wise, they have been configured. For example, look at this. So A to E, these are the places where you can place the component. So they are internally connected. They are already internally connected. So internally connected means A, B, C, D, they are all internally connected. So internally connected in the sense, if I place one component here, same you want to connect to, you want to connect to the same component again, I can use another one. That means they are all internally connected here. So since they are internally connected here, if one pin of a resistor, let's say if I place a resistor here, one pin of a resistor, I want to connect to other pins, other than, for example, LED or something like, I can use other pin here. So this we will see that when we conduct an experiment, you'll get an idea. So they are, all the rows are internally connected. For example, F, G, H, I, J, they are internally connected. That is, so the rows on this side, they are internally connected. The rows on this side, they are internally connected. But this row is not connected directly to this row. Their separation is there. So that means that only these are connected internally. So next, so when you want to, these pins connect the vertical, they are connected the vertically. So now they also provide a certain pins horizontally. Say all these pins, when I say plus here, that means that all the pins in this direction, in this row, they are connected internally. They are connected internally. When I say minus here, they are all connected internally here. So the row wise, they are connected here. So here in this way, in this direction, they are connected. So horizontally, and they are connected here the vertically. So this you should understand that generally when you take a power supply, what we do, we take a power from Arduino board and connect to this point. And from here, I can take the power supply to other points or other components here. So you look at one of the board, what we did here. So we made a connection here. See, for power supply, plus 5 volts power supply I connected to here. So that what will happen? The whole of this line becomes what? The positive line, positive power supply. I have connected the minus to here. Then what will happen? The whole of this line becomes the negative, in the sense the ground point, so that I can use them whatever required. Now one of the pin I'll be using here. So I've just connected to here. So one of the LEDs I have to connect it to one to the ground. I've just connected here directly. So like this, we can bring the connections between the digital input output pins and analog input pins to the breadboard using the patch cards. These are the patch cards. So whenever you want to bring the data from these pins to the breadboard, we require male-to-male connectors. This is a male connector here. Again, it's a male-to connector. So you will be generally using male-to-male patch cards to bring the data from the Arduino board to your breadboard. So these are some of the connection components what is available. So this we will study them in detail. For example, this is a DC motor, temperature sensor, photoresistor, piezo element, transistor, push button, okay, jumper wire, okay. So what we do is, so today in the lab, so today in the lab in the afternoon batch, I will demonstrate using the Tinker board. You can install the software or you can register for the Tinker board. You can just type Tinker board. You should register. You can use your Gmail account and register for them so that you can able to use a Tinker board. I will demonstrate using a Tinker board how we can build circuits, how we can write the programs. So today in the lab sessions this week for all the batches, I'll demonstrate how to build Arduino projects using the Tinker board, using the breadboard and place the components. So if
Sir,
any
is the
doubt is,
software Tinkercad or Tinkerboard, sir?
just check it that I have to see that Tinker board, or you typed the Tinker board? It came, you got it that?
No, sir, but I've previously used Tinkercad, so if Tinkerboard is different, I don't know.
Okay, check with the Tinkercad only. I'll just check in the afternoon. I'll demonstrate in the afternoon session. I have to check it once. So if you just check that Tinkercad or Tinkerboard, but only thing, make sure that you should be able to drag the Arduino board into your circuit, and you should be able to place the component, make the connections, and you should be able to run the program, Arduino program.
Yes, sir.
You
I
should be able
think
to.
that's Tinkercad because I've also previously used that. So I think
Okay.
that would be
So by Google Tinkerboard, it's a hardware element.
Okay, it's a Tinkercad.
Yes, sir.
Software is
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So then you can take the login for that, for the Tinkercad, and keep it ready in the afternoon. So I will demonstrate 1 or 2 projects using Tinkercad. So then we will build the project for this lab for this 1 year. So some of the programming aspects we will learn in the lab itself. In the 3 lab sessions we'll be having it, we will learn that. Some theory we'll have in the next class. Yeah, you can stop recording. If any doubt is there, you can just. So any doubt is there, you can raise the question. Otherwise, you can just exit from the meeting. So for the first batch, the lab batch, what we have in the afternoon session, we will try with the Tinkercad.
So could you send us this PPT?
Yeah, I will share it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. ಹೇಳಿವ್ರೆ ಆಗಿದೆ